All right, we're going to wait for our Instagram to go live, and then I'll do my chunk chunk, my little sound that indicates we're starting. So I've got a minute. I forgot to put the timer on, you guys. Sorry. There we are. All right, so now we know we're live for Instagram. Give me a second. I still got a minute. All right, it's Nightcap. Words matter, people matter. Tonight I'm going to talk about how I use words wrong. We're going to talk about how people are used wrong and moved around wrong. I'm also going to introduce a new word to you. So stay tuned. I got a good show for you tonight. I think I'm going to riff pretty hard on a topic that is close to home for me. And excuse me, it's a nice segue from last night's episode, which was me getting angry about the distinction between greed for poor people and greed for rich people. And I posited that a person that's poor, truly poor, doesn't really can't be greedy because they're looking to get their resources. And I went off and did some weaving and winding around that topic. The core of that issue was that I argued that poor people, true poor people, can't be greedy because they're trying to survive. So survival mechanism kicks in, and that even goes for thievery, burglary, and everything else that humans do to try to survive. So I don't want to go too deep. Make sure you check out that episode because, of course, when you're putting yourself out there like this, like I do, you always have somebody that's going to be in my inbox no matter what. If I say the sky is blue and that person agrees with me that the sky is blue, they will inbox me that will say, you know, you didn't really specify the shade of blue, therefore it negates everything you said. It's annoying, but you know what? Quite frankly, I enjoy it and I appreciate it. So don't stop. Please inbox me. I would prefer that you put your comments in the feed because that's how the algorithms work. They love that engagement. However, this person was kind enough to watch the show, which I appreciate. I'm always like, what? You watched it? You actually listened to it? Oh my gosh, cringe, that voice. But they watched it, so I appreciate that. So I don't want to lash out. And I'm certainly happy that they're engaging. But I found it interesting that the person is an advocate, definitely an advocate, I think works for a local community, working with underprivileged folks. And they took issue with the word poor. And I felt like when I was talking about it, I did make that distinction. But I want to talk about the word poor again, just to reiterate my perspective on it. I'm team, let's defend the poor. Let's always take the powerless position. That's just fucking my default position. If you watch the show enough, you know I'm always going to look at the power structure for any conflict and take the underdog. That's just how I'm built, okay? I just want to see that underdog. I believe that the person in power could make the situation better for the person that has no power. Therefore, the only defense is to take the position where the person doesn't have power. Otherwise, you're just fucking bull. You're just a bully. You're a bully. Okay, that's my default. You can basically put any topic through that lens, and Nate will come out. It's pretty clean. Nate will come out advocating for the folks that don't have power if they're feeling like they should have more power or more resources or whatever it is. Okay, that goes for every fucking conflict. Okay, so you're not going to find you're really not going to find a situation where that's going to break. It's pure. It's easy. Take the side of the person that's being marginalized or the entity or the people or the demographic that's being marginalized. Okay, so that's number one. So when I talk about poor people, I am talking about it from a position of I want to eradicate poor people, not meaning kill them. I would like to just not have any poor people. Now, I got into it, and the topic of today's rant or monologue, if you will, my stream of consciousness is words matter, because I admit that I throw words around and I like to think that I'm creative and I can articulate things and I can weave a story and pull you in. But the truth is I fuck up all the time and I'm not as articulate and eloquent as I'd like to think. So stop telling me I am, because sometimes I think I am. And then other times I'm like, Jesus Christ, I can't even pronounce pomegranate. Pomegranate. All right. So there you go. But when it comes to like words that kind of categorize demographics, you always got to be careful. I have a whole bit that I'm never going to be able to do that really plays on the word game. And the reason I say this, I'm actually having a comedian come in on Saturday for after hours, and we're going to talk. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but I'm definitely going to tell him my story. And my story is where I'm using words, and I didn't get to tell the whole story. So the joke falls flat. I walk out looking like a racist, but it's because the story wasn't told. The words didn't come out. The whole thing wasn't painted. And so, again, I oftentimes will think that I'm using words eloquently and I offend people, okay? However, I want to be clear. When I used the word poor yesterday, I remember thinking about it and I thought I said something about that word, and that it's a bad word. What is poor? It's really a subjugation. You're actually categorizing this person. And this isn't something I'd researched. This is just, this person came in my inbox. They had an issue with the word poor. I replied back. I think I addressed it. I listened. I don't think I was as clear maybe as I could have been. So I wanted to come back on top of and address it and be clear. I don't like the word poor. I think it's relative. And as I said yesterday, someone could be poor and very happy and well off and not in any in danger of not surviving. So if you start to break it down, what is poor? I'm extremely poor compared to Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban would say Nate's poor. Am I poor? Yes, comparatively to him. That's why poor is a bad word, because it means nothing. It's really saying that somebody else is less than somebody else. And so when you talk about this from a scientific perspective or a from a sociological perspective, if that's a word, again, me fucking up my words, they use words like socioeconomic status, or SES is the thing that I saw in white papers, and they'll say lower socioeconomic status. And they say, they kind of use that as the equalizer, and I get it. And this is one of those times where, I'm going to bring in one of my favorite words that was taken away, which is again, I don't want to ruin my joke that will never be told, but retard is a fantastic word. I know we can't use it. Why did I bring it up? Because it's one of those words where you're not allowed to use it because it has connotations that go along with it. And a lot of folks felt that that word was being thrown around to associate morons with people that have real intellectual challenge. And so we can still call people morons, but if you call them a retard, people will associate that with you being kind of insensitive, and that word is now no longer even okay to use as an insult. So it's a word, and I'm bringing that word in because poor is very similar, and I don't think it had a movement. I don't think it was ever correct in any way, although retard only became non-cool, unfortunately, right after I became like it was retard, then fuck. That was my vocabulary in my 20s and 30s, up until maybe even my 40s. Right now I'm pushing 50. But I mean, it's been hard to lose my favorite word, retard. And I know I'm saying it, and you're probably getting mad if you're a special ed teacher or you have mentally challenged children. I'm not using it to indicate or make fun. The word was just a word that, retard. It lands with such fuerza, as they say in Spanish, strength. So it was hard for me to give up, but I get it, okay? so the whole community kind of moved around that word and said it's not cool anymore. And I again, I have a joke about it. I like to use the word as jokes, but again, I understand that it's not cool to use in conversation, even casual conversation. You can say, hey, that person's a moron, but HR would come at you if you said that person's a retard. You could lose your job potentially for saying retard. Okay. So bringing it back to the word poor also kind of is timelessly bad. And it's definitely one of those words where I don't think it's like retard, where it's like, okay, it was okay for a while until people got sensitive. And not, by the way, not sensitive. It's not appropriate. So don't come at me. If you're going to come at me, make sure you leave a fucking comment. Don't send it to my inbox. Say, Nate, leave a public comment. Say, I can't believe you used the word retard 17 times and you said you hate the word. I actually love the word, but I know we can't use it. Okay. So again, leave a comment. Don't inbox me. But I think it relates to my original topic of poor, because it's one of those words that, look, it has a lot of negativity associated with it, and it should, as should the word poor. And so even as I was using it yesterday, I know that it came out as like kind of a classification. Like, I'm saying you're poor. Mark Cuban thinks I'm poor. I'm not poor. When we say poor, we're talking about people that are worried about their survival. Now, that's a whole different level, right? So poor isn't really a good word at all. And I want to be clear that I'm team poor. However, I will try to use the academic term, which is lower economic status, or lower on the socioeconomic rung ladder, I guess. I don't know. I'll figure some way out to say poor. I mean, I can use moron. I can use all kinds of words. Fucktard. I think fucktard is still legal. I don't know, but I'm actually going to fight that in court if someone wants to come at me about fucktard, because I feel like it's a conjugation of two words that really shouldn't exist. And so it therefore is its own word. And maybe there's a movement already, but I'm already on top of it. Fucktard is my thing. Jokes aside, I'm not a comedian. I know if you're watching, I'm not thinking I'm funny today. I'm just feeling a little bit loosey-goosey with the words. But poor, as I was using yesterday, was my lazy way to describe the lower socioeconomic status of many people. So for those folks who work with people on the lower rung of the socioeconomic status level thing, metric, I apologize. I do not want to use words that offend. And if you're going to watch this show and not get offended, I'm going to be fucking annoyed. I hope, whether you're liberal, Democrat, libertarian, idiot, Pontius Pilate, libertarian motherfucker, whatever you are, I hope at least there's an episode where you can say, you know what? I fucking watched that and I got fired up and I almost turned it off. But you know what? I know he was going to come back. He's going to come back with something warm and fuzzy to make me feel good and validate my personal beliefs. So stick with it. Don't fucking flip it off just because one time I pinged you a little bit. That's what I'm here for, to ping you a little bit. All right, so let's get back to the topic. Words matter. People matter. Why did I put those two things in the topic? Well, because today, at the same time when I'm talking about this poverty thing yesterday and talking about whether someone could be on survival mode, today in Kensington, Pennsylvania, we had a crew, and it was on the news, where people cleaned up the section of the city where there were drugs and people living. Basically, what they mean is they moved the homeless folks again. Okay? So, I mean, it's apropos that I talk about this. As you know, if you've watched my show before and you've heard me rant about it, I have a personal experience of my own making, of my own doing, of my own irresponsibility of living on the streets of Lancaster for 3 months approximately, like an idiot. Of course, I was young and stupid, but I was homeless. No ID, straight up. I was ready to go long-term, probably mentally didn't have the capacity to get myself out of it. So homelessness is one of those things that I understand intimately, unfortunately. And yes, it was a long time ago. And yes, it was only 3 months, but it was a fucking hell of a fucking 3 months. And I challenge anybody to go live on the streets for 3 months with nothing. It's tough. So I'm not trying to put myself on the same level as folks that are homeless day in and day out. But I just wanted to provide that background to help you understand why this issue is very personal to me, because it happened, and I understand kind of how you can get lost and not out of that system. I was fortunate to have someone pluck me out. I mean, because I was mentally ready to say, you know what, fuck everything else. I hate all this shit anyway, and I don't need to get involved in this stupid ass system. Now I'm just in the system and I'm angry about it. But I was the same angry person then. I just thought I could fucking survive, wing it on fucking whatever mental capacity, I guess. I was an idiot. Not all homeless people are idiots, okay? Let's just make that clear too. But we have this time when I'm talking about this, whether someone's on survival mode or whether someone's greedy, is we have a city doing what cities do, and that's moving the population of homeless to somewhere else. Hopefully to what? Well, the word that I talked about, remember I said I was going to introduce a new word? I'm going to introduce a new word to you. It comes from my domain, software engineering. It's called patch. And what's a patch have to do with people, moving, places, things? You're just obsessed with the P? Is that what it is? You just want a P, patch? All right, well, let me explain what a patch is. In the old days, sometimes you couldn't actually, compiling software took a long time. So sometimes what you had to do is you had to actually patch the binary. So you had to, I know I'm talking over you, but software runs and then it compiles sometimes. And sometimes it runs and it actually runs all the time. So it has a little engine that runs it, that interprets it. It's like, hey, give me the code. I'll interpret it. It stands there. It's like a middleman the whole time. Like, hey, give me the code. It's the whole time. Then there's other stuff where it actually gets built and then it lays on there. It's not a middleman. It's actually running on the metal. So it's compiled. So there was a time when it was much more difficult to recompile the code. Might have taken a long time, but if you could figure out how to patch it, you could actually do something where you actually patch the final result. And so you made a modification to it without having to change the source code. Now, patch, the word has evolved. Okay, if you're a fucking computer scientist, think I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, sit the fuck down. It's evolved to mean any type of small update for software, and now a lot of patches are handled through Git, and so there's even a keyword called patch where it does what's called a diff, which is basically taking the difference of two things and figuring out where it is. So there's this whole system, and what is patch? It's a little tiny fix, okay? For all practical purposes, it's a little tiny fix. And it's one of those fixes that you want to do when you know you can't go back and rewrite stuff, or you know it's going to take a lot of work to recompile it, or you know it's going to take some crazy amount of environment set up to get things running. So you run a patch. And a patch is something where you know you can do something really slim and quick and patch it and keep things running. Oftentimes, a patch is done in real time so that the software doesn't have to come down. Okay. Hopefully I didn't get too fucking technical. If it helps, think of a patch like a fucking rubber thing that you slap on a boat that's leaking. You just slap it on and hope that it fixes it. I mean, the water's coming out. You slap it on. Maybe there's another hole. You go slap it on. You're not going to rebuild the hull. You're not going to rebuild the whole hull because you're out in the fucking water. You can't. Right? Same thing with software. You can't do the whole thing. You can't rebuild it. That was the history. And so they patch it. Why are you fucking obsessing with patch? Because that's what the fuck we do in our system. Remember, I talk about our system as being like, if I were an engineer, if I were God, the omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent motherfucker that you say exists, then I would have all the power to do that. Damn, I lost my fucking reference. I was good. Oh. So I've talked about how if I was God, I would probably not design the system as we have it right now. I would not, because it has so many cracks and points of failure. Okay, we have homeless people. That's not. I mean, we can't say we designed a system so that we would have homeless people. I mean, that's awful. If someone says that, well, you're always going to have. Then we've designed a shitty system. Okay. And so what we've decided to do as humans with these shitty systems that we have, instead of really taking a hard look at what it takes to fix it, what do? We patch it. What does that mean? We just slap a little sticker on it and fucking hope it works. So right now in Kensington, they're performing the homeless patch. And the homeless patch is what I call what cities do to deal with their homeless situation. They just put a little patch on it, slap a little fucking grease on it, make it pretty because the mayor's coming to town, and then shit goes all back to normal. There's no fucking real human concern there. There's humans there. It's like we're little fucking Israelites and we're like marching their route. We're like, just get the fuck out. We don't care where you go. That's what cities do all the time. So it's not like, don't be surprised that we're watching this happen in slow motion with Israel. I mean, we do this locally. Stop fucking playing yourself. You're on your high horse. You're thinking they're marching for Palestine. You walk outside. We fucking do that same shit to our people here. Don't even play yourself and think that you're fucking going to virtue signal by saying, oh, well, homeless people. No, we literally move them around. It's on TV today. They call it cleaning up the streets. And the neighbors are happy and there's some people that aren't happy. And I get it. I understand if I lived there, I wouldn't be very happy with the environment. I'm not saying they don't have the right to have a safe environment for their children. What I'm saying is moving homeless people is a fucking patch. It does nothing. It's moving them from over here to over. We do this in this fucking town in Lancaster. I love it. They're like, oh, homeless. They'll put a little gate around fucking Ben's Park. Like, homeless people can't come. Okay, great. So what? For a couple days, we have no homeless people? They go somewhere. One of the things that came out of the article that I was reading today about Kensington was they're like, hey, this, one of the activists came out. They're like, this is just another episode of what happened. And she called out a reference of a date where it happened, and they did the same thing, and they moved people, and we don't have enough beds. We don't have enough services. Now, it was nice to hear that there were services available for 36 people in that homeless bunch. 36 people were able to get services. What does that mean? I'm not sure, because I know we don't fucking fund services. So I know we don't pay social workers very much. So I can't imagine it's like a fucking Ritz-Carlton or anything. I don't know what that means. It just means they got services. I would love to know they got services so they can sustain their life. They don't have to be in survival mode. That was the thing I talked about yesterday. And here we are, talking about poverty yesterday. And then today, a perfect example. These people are they being greedy? Are they taking up space? Are they not being considerate by fucking leaving their shit all over the city? Is that what you're going to take? Is that your position now on these people? Is that they're a fucking nuisance? These fucking people are a nuisance. You're just going to move them around to the next spot. Fucking makes me angry, and it does get me upset, because it's like, I realize I don't do enough. I don't do enough. And I don't do enough to help my community in many ways. And it's probably because in my deep depth of the core, I'm very awkward around people, and I don't fucking really do anything. I make humor to try to compensate for my awkwardness. I have major guilt that I don't do enough. And it gets me emotional to think like I could do more, and I'm just not able to work with people very well. I'm a good team player, by the way. I'm a good manager. I can run people. So if you're thinking of hiring me, fine. Not that awkward. It's just, I know I don't fucking do enough. And this topic is one of those things where it's like, I don't even know where to start. One of the things that would be a dream is like just to have the resources like Mr. Beast does, right? Wouldn't that be great? You just fucking go and buy people houses, just fucking slap money on it, whatever. Because he's got that much money. You guys buying houses for people. That'd be great, right? We're not there. I don't know if we'll ever be there. But it's a hard problem to solve. But I think I would just like people to stop talking about homeless people. Let's start using words that indicate that we're moving people. We're not cleaning. We're not cleaning up the city. We're relocating people that are destitute, that have nothing, that are in survival mode. And I can tell you, as someone who's been there are things you'll do and say and act when you're in survival mode that you won't fucking imagine right now. Right there, sitting behind with your nice little fucking cozy. Maybe you're listening on your fucking headset and you got the air conditioner on. It's nice and cool. I can't begin to start to label all the amenities that you have that once taken away, that you have right now, even when you're thinking you're poor and you're working that job that's not making much, but you're living with a roof over your head, huge, huge differentiator. Let me tell you. And as I said before, these people that they're moving around or cleaning out have health issues. You cannot be destitute and living on the street and in good health. Your body basically shuts down. It injects cortisol into every fucking thing. You got stress hormones kicking. If there's a doctor or somebody out there, tell me I'm lying. Poverty is bad for your health. Period. And so what could be worse? You fucking set up a tent. You fucking scrapped yourself a tent. You're living amongst people that don't give a shit about you. Literally, you're trash to them. In fact, they talk about moving you as if you are trash, cleaning the city up. So this is the mentality. And you think, well, how'd they get there? Many, many fucking ways people get there. How did I get there? I came from a good background, all that shit. Bad decisions, sure. I am definitely privileged homeless person, if that's even such a thing, because I was lucky. I had somebody come in and pull me out and get me back on my feet and say, dude, smack me around and say, what the fuck are you doing? I was like, well, this is kind of nice. I don't have to worry about anybody. No one fucking gives a fuck about me anyway. So, that destitute place where you're at, you're mentally challenged. You're mentally taxed when you're poor and homeless. It's not fucking heyday. That person that's standing there begging, the humility, the first time you have to do that, the humility, the humiliation, knowing there might be people that drive by that know who you are. I just wish people just would think about what that state of mind is for that person. Say, oh, just get up off your ass and get back into the system. Fuck you. It's not fucking that easy. I can tell you right now, I could break you by taking away the things that you think you need to eat or live. I can make you do things that you wouldn't imagine to do by just depriving you of the things that you need to survive. Insecurity is another thing. So now we're going through and we're moving people around and you're creating this insecurity. Can you imagine going over to another country where they spoke another language, making that leap? How bad does it have to be? Start putting your fucking self in people's positions and maybe your position won't be so fucking inhumane. And you won't use language that's stupid when you talk about moving people around, talk about cleaning up the city. Drives me nuts. It's just, and I started this off by saying how I use words that are incorrect. I'm not crying, I promise. I'm sniffling. Sometimes when I get fired up, my nose starts running. That'll be cut for the podcast. I'm sorry, podcast listeners. But this fires me up because it's like we're patching these problems. And this is another thing where it was a full scale, lots of money, lots of people, lots of resources go into cleaning up the city. And it's a fucking weird ass patch. It's like, okay, I know we can't take out the hull and rebuild the hull because we're in flux and we're in the ocean. But for Christ's sake, can't we have some tugboats or some other shit? Going with this analogy, I mean, we have to start building infrastructure for the least of us. That means state hospitals have to come back. Properly run, regulated, highly paid professionals, state hospitals. That means we have to have real outreach and like not just some half-ass charity where people can stay for 2 weeks. No, they fucking have a place to live. They live there. How I don't, one of the things that really frustrates me with this is when people start to think, well, they don't deserve it. They don't deserve it. They didn't work for it. Fuck all that shit. You think that you're a hustler. You think you worked and earned all this shit, or you maybe were so lucky to be born in this country and born with privilege and born in a situation and know the right people. It's all fucking luck. Stop acting like you're special. You didn't do it on your own, no matter what you think. I, of all people, do not like to rely on other people's help. But I'm not that fucking stupid to think, oh, this whole thing in my office, all this equipment, I did this. I didn't even make any of this shit. I bought it with somebody else's money and all this shit with tax benefits. I mean, it's crazy. I didn't do any of this on my own. The larger point that I'm trying to make as I ramble and go off on ADHD tangents is that words matter. How we describe people matters. I fuck it up. I'm irreverent with my use of retard, which is, again, one of my favorite words. We have to start using the words correctly, though, and I'm guilty of it as well. When we start talking about people, they're not trash. They're not things we clean. We shouldn't just be moving people as if we wouldn't be fucking out of our fucking minds if someone came and said, hey, you got to move tomorrow, now, right now. Just get your shit. Whatever you got on you, go. Go fucking do that shit to somebody. And all the folks that are just talking and thinking about Gaza and all this shit, imagine some motherfucker from another country just coming and knocking on your door and saying, hey, this is my house now. You're fucking signing off on that shit. I don't give a fuck about whatever. That's been going on before October 7th or 6th. And so, this again, if you want to know where Nate stands on that issue, it's real easy. Who has the power? Who has the control? Who doesn't? But it brings, I take that personally as well. You're moving these people. Anytime you take a person, you just say, you got to get up and go. I don't even like it when a cop says that to me. I'm sitting on a bench. Fuck you, dude. I'm sitting here. That's what I want to say. I'm an asshole. I agree. Probably have little to zero respect for people that fucking wear badges just because I've never seen one that really I found a lot of respect for, other than people I know in my personal lives. Calm down. You're a cop. Fuck off. I don't care. You should quit your job anyway, but I still like you on a personal level, just not your fucking job. So, as I get, by the way, I'm very cognizant of the fact that as this gets more and more popular, there's more and more things I'm going to say that are going to piss people off. And I'm going to lean into some of them. I don't give a fuck, because I'm expecting that at some point with the language that I use and the topics that I talk about, I'm going to piss somebody off. I'm going to say things that are incorrect. And so what? I don't care anymore. I really don't. I don't fucking care if it won't make me hireable. I don't give a fuck. I don't need to fucking be hired by somebody. Okay? I don't need it. So I don't care anymore. I'm at the point right now where it's like, look, I've got maybe 20 summers left. As I said today on Facebook, how many summers you got left? Think about it. It's weirder when you think, oh man, I only have maybe 25 and maybe 10 of those I'll be fucking walking. So you start thinking differently about what you can say and what you can't, and you just start to realize that it doesn't fucking matter. What's the worst somebody's gonna do? Kill me, I guess. That's fucking, and then I'm dead, and it doesn't matter, right? All right. I'm not trying to be fatalistic. I get all fired up when I start talking about these issues that mean a lot. And as you know, if you're a normal listener, I will go off on a tangent real quick as my brain processes things in real time. I want to bring it back to the original point and kind of wrap it today. And I want to give some good news like I have been. But I want to kind of put a bullet on this, or a bow on this, if you will, not a bullet. But I will continue to probably use words irreverently, but I think it is important. I think it is important when you're talking about a serious topic to make sure that you're not denigrating a demographic. And oftentimes when I use the word poor or retard, people are going to be offended. And so I just want to make it clear from here on out, when I use that word, if I use that word, I am using it in the most respectful way, and a way that just basically delineates or creates some kind of difference in socioeconomic status that I'm trying to kind of articulate in that context. That was as lawyerly as I can be. What I'm trying to say is I'm probably going to fuck it up and say it again and use it in the wrong way, but you're going to have to deal with it. I'm going to try my best. Retard, again, I'm going to move to fucktard. I really like fucktard. Someone can leave a message if that's not appropriate. I don't believe they should get the whole word. They can have retard. They can't have re. We're going to use re with other stuff. I would like to extract tard and use tard, conjugate it with fuck, consummate it with fuck, and then call fucktard. Anyway, on a serious note, though, what's happening right now in Kensington probably happens in your city. If you're in Lancaster, this happens all the time. We move people around as if they're trash, as if they're things to be moved, and we're just patching the system. So every fucking time, and you live in a neighborhood and you see, oh wow, the cleaning crew's coming in, you shouldn't celebrate. It's a fucking shit day for humanity because we're literally moving people around without any consideration of their life, liberty, or even their pursuit of happiness, right? The American dream. Do homeless people deserve the American dream? I mean, do they get to vote? I've actually watched a whole thing about people articulating that no, people that don't own property shouldn't vote. Like, I'm like, holy fuck, are we going backwards? Jesus, I did a whole thing on poll tax. So go back and listen to that. All right, listen, I'm going to wrap, but I'm going to finalize with some good news. So you guys know I have the after hours show going on. It's Saturday night. It's kind of ad hoc. I've got Matt Blank coming on this Saturday. I don't even know when we're going to film it because I have a premiere that night for the guest that was there on Saturday. They're inviting me to their movie premiere. If you haven't checked it out, go see that interview. I'm not Oprah. I'm not fucking Shannon Sharp. I'm way less articulate than Jimmy Fallon. The only reason I'm using those words in the same sentence as me is because I'm interviewing people like they do. And so I think it's a good first crack. And I think the guests had fun. And I think that's going to be a forum that I'm going to really enjoy because it's not going to be me angry. You're going to see a little different side of me, someone that's interested in people. You know, I say I hate people. I like people a lot. I want people to thrive, in fact. I just don't necessarily want to talk to them, okay? But check out that. I say that as I'm generating an interview show. I do like learning about what people do, and I really do enjoy watching people talk about what they do. People like to talk about what they do. I like to talk about what I do. And so I think that forum is going to be fun because it's going to be an opportunity for me to get other folks to talk about what they do. And I'm going to have people on that I'm interested in whatever they're doing, or if they got something, some innovative thing, or they're trying to pump something up. I want that show to be a place where we can take that without political slant like this one is. This one's just Nate monologue, stream of conscious rant and raving. And hopefully someday I have some more bells and whistles and eventually get the sound to sync with the video, right? I know it's not fucking synced. Who cares? All you motherfuckers listen to it anyway, so don't even lie. You don't watch it. No one watches. Maybe a couple super fans watching me lick my lips or some shit. Jokes aside, I know people listen to this. And I'm excited because that's where I'm going to roll into the good news. Dude, my numbers are fantastic. You guys are helping me kill it. I launched After Hours, just launched a couple social media accounts. Both of those things have a vertical graph. My Smashing the Party, we're growing that pretty rapidly as well. It's not vertical, but it's a real nice slope on that. And then my personal account, again, somehow was at 20,000. I just found out what the number was and they cut it in half. So it's back up to 10,000 now. It was at 5. All I'm saying is that's a lot of reach. And so we're talking about aggregate all the accounts with no boosting at all. We're talking about 20,000. Okay. So Smashing the Party alone is just over 5,000 right now. So this is huge. That means people are listening. It means people are learning about it. It means that at least people know about Smashing the Party. They know Nate's crazy. He's off on his crazy rants again. People are tuning in. It's fantastic. I'm a little nervous. I always get scared. I get that feeling in my gut. Like, you know, when things start to happen, I know my inbox gets full of angry comments. I know things get a little bit more crazy. And so it's exciting. And this time, what I'm prepared for is I have a lot more automation in place. And I'm also prepared to hire somebody so it doesn't infect my day job. So we're looking for a producer, by the way. And I say we because it's me, myself, and Nate. And that's a we. But we're definitely looking for somebody that's hands-on, that's willing to cut up videos and do kind of that kind of stuff. So I'm at that point where I'm looking to grow. And I know a lot of people have been in my inbox saying, hey, look, how you going to monetize? How you going to monetize? I'm not worried about monetizing yet. I know that at some point I'm going to need to. I mean, I can't just pay for this all myself. I'm hoping we can get to the point where we can have advertisers. But right now I've got a little bit of runway to do this and also still perform my duties in my day job. And so we're going to continue to grow. And you guys are doing great. Every fucking goal that I asked for, we nail. The one that I'm really kind of holding out for is we got to get my YouTube up. I need to get to 1,000, and I'm at 46 or 48. So I mean, I've got a long way to go. And YouTube is hard to grow. The algorithm's pretty nasty. You've got to have everything perfect. So until I make some hit critical mass, I think the YouTube's going to drag. But I'm still excited, and I know what the reach is, and I know what that means for the monetization. Because as long as I can get my reach high enough, if I'm hitting 1 million people, there's a way to figure out how to monetize that in some way. And I don't need a whole lot. So a lot of these larger organizations that fail or they're trying to do this, they have a lot of, first of all, they don't have a software architect. They don't have somebody who can also sell. They also don't have somebody who can do content and all the other stuff. So I can do everything. I can automate it. It's going to give me a longer runway than somebody that might be doing this on their own that might not have the skill set. So I've got some advantages, but I still can't do it on my own. As I said before, it requires people. And so I've maxed out my friends list on Facebook. I'm now growing my professional pages and I'm going to try to get those all to 10,000. The reason for that is because it allows us to have more reach. The reason we want more reach is so more eyeballs and more ears can get on this message of changing the motherfucking world. All right. So again, that doesn't sound like good news, but I'm telling you right now, it's all good news. The graphs are looking great. I can now tell guests that if you come on After Hours, I can almost guarantee you of at least 5,000 people locally will see your content. And I am surprised at the amount of people. I've put it out there at the Candy Factory. I've actually asked some people individually, but I don't think people really see it for what it is. It's maybe Nate's show, but it's also a fucking awesome promotional tool for whatever you want to put on. And I'm really interested in having folks that have something they want to talk about on the show. I've got guests lined up for the next 12 weeks. No bullshit. So it's not like I have a shortage of people. I'm actually starting to think that I record a couple of them a week and then just kind of space them out. But I want to have folks that come on, and then I want to have that week where I can promote their content. So it's one of the things I feel like I can do well, and I can gift this to people. And so if you have something, maybe it's not political, which is fantastic. Maybe it has nothing to do with politics. Maybe it's dog tricks, and you want to come on the show and you think it's fucking awesome. And even if you don't think it's interesting, I promise you it is interesting. One of my friends who I'd love to have on the show because we would definitely have banter that no one probably has seen. He knows my dark secrets of growing up. And I've asked him to come on the show. He's like, oh, I'm not interesting. He's fucking very interesting. Super interesting. He's my age. He's kind of retiring now, runs his own beer distributor and has a fantastic life. Very, very smart, done well with his finances. I think of 10 million things I could ask him. So I don't want to hear the excuse that you're not interesting or your stuff's not interesting. I promise you it's interesting. I'm not interesting. I need to get people on here that are other people so that other people find it interesting. Trust me. No one's watching me rant. They want to see me talk to other people or other people come on here. They want to see that magic. So I'm happy to have you on. Make sure you message me. It's called After Hours. It's got social media on Facebook, Instagram, and that's it. I didn't go to Twitter. And then we're just putting everything under the umbrella of Smashing the Party. You can find me on YouTube and TikTok. Please follow, like, share. If you're mad and angry about the words that I use and you get offended, leave a comment. Tell me how awful I am. Maybe I need to be baptized for a third time. Yes, I said I was baptized twice. It's a fucking loophole. That's why I'm an atheist. I still get in. Don't fuck with me, but leave a comment if you find anything I said offensive, enlightening, or annoying. Please let me know, because that's like paying me. Like, you're actually like saying, hey, Nate, I don't like you. And Facebook goes, oh, wow, this person doesn't like Nate. We need to find more people that don't like Nate. And so the algorithm actually likes it when you don't like me. So I'm okay to have the haters. I'm grown up now. I can handle the comments. I will read it under the guise of my psychologist. I will have them. I will read them. We will vet them together. He will console me. Please leave them. I'm interested. By the way, last thing I'll say is I'm going to be out of town this Saturday. I'm still going to have the Matt Blank thing. Matt, I'm going to talk to you. I'll reach out to you. We're going to a premiere. My first premiere is going to be red carpet and shit. It's going to be fancy dancing. I'm going to put on a suit and shit. And we're going to talk to our guests that we had on Saturday. So if you haven't watched that episode, go check it out. It's a great movie. They've got a short film and they've got a full feature film called Cold and Transient. It's awesome. I can't wait to go. It's kind of making me feel like I'm like a real talk show host, kind of in a way. So I'm going to ride this wave. It's going to be over. And then I'm not going to have any premieres. And hopefully, you know, it takes a long time to make a movie. But I'm excited about it. And no jokes, these folks are super talented. So make sure you check out that interview. I'm going to wrap tonight. I'll be back tomorrow. If you're waiting for the podcast, keep searching. It's coming. I'm running into some design paralysis with getting things done. I've got my intro music. I've got my outro music. Now I've got to tape it all together and tighten it up a little bit. I want to clean up the podcasts. My thought is to clean them up so that they go on the podcast a little bit cleaner. I'm not sure about language yet. I may or may not bleep them. I don't know. Leave a comment if you think that matters. Who fucking knows? Who cares, right? I should just say, fuck it. Do it live. But that's coming. And I promise you, like, I'm literally was working on the audio when I had some time today. And I plan on getting that out. I'm probably going to release them in a bundle. But you're listening to it on this anyway. So you're getting it. It's not like you're missing anything. But I think I'll be able to have some street cred by saying, hey, look, go listen to my podcast. Oh, it's a podcast for real this time. Not something that I have to look on 15 platforms to find. Oh, you don't even have a website. Rage. Oh, all right. That's it. I'm going to wrap on that. Again, I appreciate the content. I appreciate the back and forth. I appreciate the listeners. Jason, I appreciate it. Brendan, I appreciate it. Lisa, I appreciate it. Kristen, I appreciate it. Pete, I appreciate it. Dennis, I appreciate it. I'll keep going. I know there's more people. Carla, I appreciate it. Who else? Who else is there? There's a ton of people that I can thank. The list goes on and on. I want to start doing shout outs. I almost did a shout out on Facebook, but I don't want to embarrass people because I know that you watch the show because it tells me now who my top person is. And so I just wanted to say, I really appreciate everyone that watches and especially people that engage and like and share and continue to do it. We'll be back on tomorrow at 10:30. It's the last one for the week. Make sure you tune in at 10:30 p.m. By the way, if you didn't see my ad that I put out, it's a little tiny ad, little cute music. Make sure you like it, share it. It's an easy way to say, hey, look, check this guy out. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow at 10:30 p.m. Have a good night.